Welcome to Cook with Joy. Hi, I'm Joy Kelly, and this is my cooking show. And I hope it's your favorite cooking show because it's mine. We are going to make something kind of fun today. I'm kind of making it up as we're doing it. And we're going to use a grain that not a lot of people use anymore. It's wild rice. And it doesn't come in this jar, but this is another little tip. This is how my sister stores all of her grains. So we're going to make a dish with it. Let's do it. Okay, so I grew up in the Midwest, and that's where wild rice is from. And what the natives used to do is they would travel with this because it was really high in protein, but it didn't spoil, and they could find it in the swamps. It's not really a rice, it's a grass, and it's just really full of nutrients that you don't find in any other rice. So I've already cooked this. I cooked it with a little bit of this no chicken vegetarian broth, which gives it a little bit different flavor than just using veggie broth, but it's vegetarian, so I really like it. Here's how the rice turns out. So, that's really the only part of it that takes a lot of time. Now, you can do just about anything with this rice dish. You could mix it with some mint and some lime. That would give it a lot of different textures, and some walnuts. And really that's what people are looking for when they want a meal. Like, that's why, a burger works so well, is because you're putting together all these flavors and it just kind of explodes in your mouth, like this explosion of experiences. And that's what we want to do with this rice dish, because just because we're making vegan gluten-free food, we don't want it to be boring vegan and gluten-free food. But today I'm going to use spinach, I'm going to use mushrooms, I'm going to use onion, celery, and I think I should probably put some garlic in here too. Do I have any garlic? Derek, what'd you do with my garlic, dude?
We used it on the other recipe.
It's got to be here somewhere. Hold on. Okay, I did have garlic. I wasn't out of it yet. All right, so we're going to get the garlic, the mushrooms, and the onions going first. You probably notice a theme in my cooking that I always use garlic and onions and mushrooms because you really can't go wrong with that combination, in my estimation. And you should put the onions in first because those take a little bit longer to kind of caramelize, to kind of get brown. And we want to get those into the pan and then let those cook for a couple of minutes while we cut up the mushrooms, and then we'll add the garlic. So these don't have to be in small pieces because they're going to help to add texture to the dish. We do want to get that end of the onion out there, though. Have you ever had like a dish from a restaurant and they didn't get the end of the onion out? I do not like that.
Ugh.
I do not like them, Sam I am.
The struggle is real.
It is so real. So real. Okay, let me get this pan over here. Okay, let me get this great big pan. Now, I'm using this great big pan because ultimately we're going to put the rice in it and everything. But right now, I'm just going to add the onions to it. And I'm going to slide it close to the end so that I don't make an even bigger mess than I have already made in this kitchen. Oh my goodness. Get those sauteing. And I'm going to do them kind of on a medium heat. So while those are cooking, I'm going to cut up some celery. I'm going to cut up some mushrooms. And I'm going to cut up some garlic. And I don't want to get this little inside piece inside of that. That's good when you're making soup stock, but not so good when you're making a dish that people are going to eat. So we're going to get rid of all the little stemmy parts. We're going to get rid of the ends. And we're just going to have the celery. And celery, believe it or not, first of all, it's good for you. A lot of people think it's not. They just think it's like, there's nothing in it for you, but that's not true. But one thing that's interesting about celery is that it has negative calories. So when you eat it, you burn more calories than you're actually eating. Is that crazy or what?
I knew that.
Did you? Additionally, did you know this? You can use celery instead of salt. Like if you have been on a salt-free diet for like a week even, and you eat celery, you'll go, oh my goodness, this is salty. Or if you juice some celery, you go, wow, this is totally, totally salty. And I'm going to cut these mushrooms in chunks instead of slices, because it's going to add more texture to this dish. I can hear those onions going. So now it's a race against time. Can I cut the mushrooms before the onions burn? I think I can. So let's add these to the pan. And I'll come back and do these garlics. Okay, so let's put these into a little bowl. I can see from here that the onions aren't quite ready yet. So let's do the garlic. We're going to put those in after the mushrooms. And remember that garlic is super high in allicin, great for your immune system. The cremini mushrooms, really high in chromium and vitamin D. Creminis more so than the white buttons. Creminis are just little portobello mushrooms. Did you know that, Derek?
Nope.
They're just little portobello mushrooms, and you can do so many things with mushrooms. One of these episodes, I'm going to do some different variations on stuffed mushrooms. So when you're going to someone's fancy party, you have a fancy dish that you can eat that's not, whenever you go to a party, like, I don't know what it is. Like, who said that the only thing you can serve is cheese and salami? It just seems like I was
Little tiny sausages.
And little tiny Italian sausages, yes. It's just, I don't know what that is, but it's kind of crazy. So I'll show you later how to make some stuffed mushrooms, and I think you'll really like that. We got the garlic going, and let's take the mushrooms and the celery over and do a little stir of the onions. Okay, so see how nice these onions are getting? They're getting all brown, really nice, because that brings out the flavor, that caramelizes them a little bit. And now it's time to add the mushrooms and the celery. And if you're wondering what I was sauteing this in, a little bit of veggie broth and a little bit of earth balance, just to give it a little bit of flavor. You could do it all with veggie broth. You don't need to add the earth balance, but I know my family, and they're going to be eating this, and they kind of like to have a little bit of that faux buttery flavor. So let's just cover that and let that steam, and we'll add the garlic in just a second. All right, so we've got the onions, the celery, and the creminis going. Let's add the garlic as the last little step before we finish this dish off. Isn't this quick?
So fast.
It's so fast, and I just made this up. I like it though. Okay, let's just add the garlic. Let's give it a quick stir. Oh my gosh, I wish, are they going to ever make videos that you can smell?
I can smell it.
You can smell it, but that's not quite the same, is it? I don't think it's quite the same. Okay, so that is beautiful. And the onions, as they cook, they give off a little bit of liquid, so it's adding to that liquid. And now I'm going to add the rice. And let's see if we want to add all of this, or maybe we want to hold some off. We'll see what it ends up looking like. I think we can get away with adding all of it. It really looks great, but you know what's going to make it even more beautiful? Is that as it's finishing, I am going to add spinach, which is going to give it a bright green hue, and it's going to add so much health benefits. Lutein especially, really good for brain health, and gosh knows I could use as much of that as I can get. I'm going to add the spinach, and then I'm just going to cover it, and I'm going to turn the heat off. And that's just going to finish the whole thing off. And there you have it. How fast was that? I mean, I came into the kitchen a little bit early, started the rice, and then I think I slammed that whole thing together in 10 minutes tops. That is like a one-pot wonder. Now, if you wanted to, you could serve this with a side dish. You could serve it with a salad. But for me, this would be a really great afternoon snack or even a late night snack. Probably wouldn't have it as a standalone dinner, but along with some other things, I think it would be fantastic. I hope you try this recipe, the one that I just made up, and I hope you try wild rice some other ways too. And if you come up with something better, will you please share it with me on my Facebook page? That would be awesome. And if you really like this recipe, share it with your friends. But no matter what, no matter if you like this recipe or you don't like this recipe, make sure that you tune in next week for the next episode of Cook with Joy.